to understand different case studies. In this first case study, what we try to simulate is we move a three-wheel robot in an empty world. In first case, in the figure in the left shows that the particular robot is connected to a single axis point, and the RSSI values are measured for various propagation models. In the second case, we repeated the same experiment connected to multiple axis points to demonstrate a handover use case. The first figure in the left shows the RSSI value measured in the network simulator changes with respect to the position of the mobile robot. As you can see here, the position of the axis point is around 0,10, and you can see the RSSI value measurement is highest at that particular location. So basically, as the robot moves across, when it moves closer to the axis point, the received signal strength is higher. As it moves away from the axis point, and the received signal strength is drastically decreasing. And we have demonstrated for the various propagation models that have been allowed by the network simulator. In the first case, in the blue line, it shows a disk type of on-off kind of scenario where you will have this is basically to demonstrate set of on-off kind of propagation model where either you will have a connection or you will have no connection. In that case, you can see there is like basically you will have consistently throughout the connection range, you will have same RSSI value measured, and once you are out of range, you will have no measurement. Similarly, we will have different type of log normal and as well as log distance based propagation models. And you can see for various system loss parameters, you can see the range of the this particular axis point is kind of decreased here. For example, in the case where system loss is 2, you will have you can get the axis point to the extent of 60 meters. But for the system loss parameter 4, you can see in the green line the graph, you can only get the signal quality till the robot is around 60 meters. Similarly, for the different propagation models like log normal, we actually showed with change in the position of the axis point, where the axis point is now at 10,10. As you can see, when the axis point is changed to 10,10, the overall range of the axis point also increased a little bit. So basically, the positions of the axis points and the positions of the robot dictate how long we can be connected to the network. And this particular kind of measurement will be very helpful to understand the relationship between the network node and the physics simulation nodes that are co-simulated in this particular scenario. And you can see as when robot is not associated with any axis point, the resulted measurement of RSSI value is 0. So that is the first use case that we try to demonstrate. In the second use case, in the second diagram, where we try to have two axis points that are being situated here. And as you can see in this experiment, the first axis point is at a position 100, 100, and the second axis point is around 200, 100. As you can see here, as the robot moves along from 0, 100 to 100, 100, as you can see here, we can see the similar pattern where as the robot moves towards the axis point, the received signal strength is increasing, and then immediately when it moves away from the axis point, the received signal strength is decreasing. And then around the handover scenario, you will have no signal. That indicates that these are the kind of areas where the control systems might be behaving not appropriately. This kind of co-simulations will enable these kind of experiments where in general, when you don't co-simulate with the network, you don't consider these kind of artifacts into your consideration for your developing your algorithms. So when you bring these kind of scenarios into the picture, you can actually simulate much richer kind of simulation for both robotic as well as network related aspects. So that is the kind of scenario that we try to demonstrate in this particular use case. These kind of artifacts will be very helpful to model the algorithms for the control algorithms to behave correctly in terms of network impairments, basically. So that is what we try to illustrate in this particular set of experiments. In the second use case, we tried to control an inverted pendulum with a PID controller from a remote mobile station. As you can see in the picture here, there is a remote mobile station that is been running here, and there is a static inverted pendulum that is being connected over here. The topology is such that inverted pendulum robot is connected to the access point, and we try to control it over a lossy network. As you can see in the figure, the controller position error versus the packet loss in the simulated channels. You can see that the time to converge increases with the packet losses. See in the figure 1 here, with 1% packet loss, the time to converge is lesser. As the packet loss is increasing, the time to converge is also increasing. This use case particularly demonstrates the stochastic nature of the medium-induced artifacts like packet losses, jitter, and time-varying delays on developing the network control algorithms. For both the case studies 1 and 2, the control algorithms are developed using ROS, and the source code is also available in the GitHub that I will be sharing in the end. And we will try to demonstrate few videos on the overall operation of this particular co-simulation framework. In the first scenario, we try to simulate a network assisted drone port where the drone port has an upward facing camera that is being used to locate the drone in the air and try to send commands to the drone to land it on top of the drone. Basically, we don't use any onboard sensors on the drone, and we try to land on the drone pad. In the in picture here, you can see the drone from the drone port camera angle. As you can see here, we are sending the commands to make the drone centered and then trying to send the commands to the drone to make it land. This is the first scenario that we try to do, a network assisted drone landing. For this, we have used this kind of scenario to demonstrate this particular use case. And we try to demonstrate a ground robot scenario where we try to pass the information over the network about the other robot, and this is used for the collision avoidance, proactive collision avoidance kind of scenarios. In this experiment, in the first experiment, as you can see here, the network, we are not passing the information about the network, and there is a possible potential collision situation here because the onboard sensors on the robots cannot recognize or cannot detect the other drone over the corner here. Now we repeat this experiment by passing the information over the network. As you can see here, the information about the other network is passed. That is the reason the path is dynamically updated for each of the robots. As you can see here, both the robots' path is dynamically updated and they avoid each other, and the mission is successful here. We try to demonstrate this experiment with real robots as well, and this is what the overall we actually demonstrated this particular experiment with 2 Volta robots here. As you can see here, because this robot is actually not in the lidar range of this particular robot, even then the robot scheduled the path to avoid this robot, and it went the other way around and it continued its trajectory. The mission was to come around here. So the other robot, even though this is the shortest path, it took the longer path because this path is not allowed. Over the network, it knows this particular robot is available here. So now, without passing the information over the network, the situation will be bad because this particular robot thinks that this is the shortest path and it will try to come around here. And you can see in this video how the robot behaves when this kind of situation arises. This robot tries to take this path, and as soon as this particular lidar recognizes that there is an obstacle, dynamic obstacle, which is the other robot is in this vicinity, immediately this has to replan and has to go back and start this mission again. This will result in longer task execution time, as well as it will require a lot of replanning for the robot to go into. It has to take very longer paths than actually intended to. This is the kind of demonstration that we try to do. Whatever we try to do over the real simulation, co-simulation framework that we developed, we also try to realize them using the real robots as well. So that was the kind of update that we have here in this particular video. And coming to the next scenario, this is a use case of teleoperation with 4 robots. As you can see here, we are trying to control each robot in this particular scenario, where, as you can see here, there are, for every robot, we have started to monitor using a wavemon, which represents the signal quality of this particular, with the particular access point here. As you can see here, there is a teleoperation node which is connected to the access point, and we are trying to control all the 4 robots using that in this particular use case. So in this one, we are selecting the robot. Here we are connecting to the robot 0. As you can see here, when we are trying to move the robot 0, the link quality will be continuously changing as we move the robot. As you can see in this window here. In this window, you can start seeing that once we started moving, the link quality and the signal level will keep on changing. You can see here the link quality is drastically dropping as we are moving away from the access point. So we are remotely operating this particular robot, and as you can see here, the signal quality is consistently dropping as the robot moves in the simulation environment. You can see this link quality is dropping here. It's been now 47%, and the signal quality is around minus 97 dB, which is very bad. And after that, it will actually stop now because it is not able to render. I mean, the signal quality is bad, so you can't teleoperate anymore after this particular scenario. So once the link quality is bad, you lost the connection to the robot. After that, the robot will stop. So once the robot is not reachable, that particular robot will stop, and it's not able to. I mean, like you cannot operate it. In real world scenarios, this is very important to understand what kind of ranges that you have and what kind of signal qualities you have, and this is very helpful for network planning of the warehouse environments as well. So when we try to connect to the robot 0 again, it is not reachable anymore. So you have to be aware of this kind of potential hotspots when you actually plan a network.